What's up, Taiwan? Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Louise with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan is planning to build 6 new coastal defense sites to defend its shores. But their proposed locations have some politicians worried they'll put nearby residents at risk in a potential war with China. Emote reports.
These are Harpoon missiles. They're anti-ship weapons that can be fired from a fighter jet or the coast. Taiwan has ordered over 400 from the U.S., and they're set to arrive in 2026. And now the military wants to build 6 new coastal defense sites to house them in an effort to protect Taiwan's main island. These sites are part of the country's push to defend against a possible Chinese invasion as Beijing ramps up military activity around Taiwan.
It's not that the Chinese will come to believe they can take Taiwan quickly, but it will be costly. It has to be the case that Taiwan has the capabilities to withstand a Chinese attack long enough for the United States to get to Taiwan's aid.
These missiles are some of the most advanced in the world. They can take out ships and protect key infrastructure from being attacked. But the location of these new launch sites is facing pushback from some politicians. Members of the opposition Kuomintang say they will turn residential areas into targets.
我们护卫基地是属于一个内陆的基地哈，那这个基地呢，我想在这里如果安置鱼叉飞弹呢，不但没有成效哈，我想针对国防部本身的一个专业跟经验，他们评估它应该设置在岸边比较好。
Even a city councilor from Kaohsiung, which houses a major naval site, expressed concern.
那为何还要设在人口这么稠密的地方呢？更何况台积电就在附近，这样合理吗？
The country has invested heavily in its navy, anti-air, and anti-ship capabilities. Taiwan's military has also doubled down on coastal defense and is trying to make it as difficult as possible to attack the country. Taiwan's defense ministry responded to concerns over the new sites and is working with local communities.
国防部会兼顾建军备战的需要跟民生发展的需求，持衡执行睦邻工作。
While the military says it respects local concerns, national security is ultimately the top priority. Howard Zhang and Jaime Ocon for TaiwanPlus.
China has told the UK to halt efforts to strengthen ties with Taiwan. It comes after Britain signed a trade agreement with Taiwan, which China claims as its own. Beijing says London should stop using trade cooperation as an excuse to engage in official exchanges with Taipei. The new pact will focus on digital trade, renewable energy, and investment. Taiwan's presidential candidates are giving voters a clearer idea of what to expect if they win. As John Van Trieste now reports, it's a change of pace in a campaign season that's so far been light on policy.
Goalie for a day. Presidential hopeful Lai Ching-te saves a goal-bound shot. Before long, he's playing badminton too. There's a reason for this sporty campaign stop. Lai's pledging an 8-pronged policy aimed at getting people exercising.
我将成立体育运动发展部，既重视体育教育，也重视运动产业的发展。清德当总统，我们预算体育的预算超过200亿，好不好？
He's not the only one making new pledges, though. In a campaign season that's been more about personality than policy, candidates are finally giving voters a look at what they stand for. The Taiwan People's Party, led by candidate Ko Wen-je, hopes to break the monopoly of Taiwan's 2 established parties. And Ko now hopes a focus on industry and economics will be what makes his dreams of a third-party victory come true. He's especially taken aim at what politicians have taken to calling Taiwan's 5 shortages, those of energy, land, labor, water, and skilled workers that he says hold Taiwan's growth back.
5缺是什么问题？我说缺长期计划，政党轮替就解决了。因为他们就是永远大傻逼政策，不会做长期规划。
And the main opposition, Kuomintang, or KMT, rallied around candidate Ho Yo-i, has taken aim at culture. Ho says the arts can help mend the tense ties between Taiwan and China, separated by deep political differences as well as the Taiwan Strait.
两岸对话其实文化就是一个非常好的沟通桥梁，所以我坚持中华文化，用文化相声共赢台湾，两岸对话，文化兴起。
With just 2 months to Election Day and party loyalties strong, it's not clear how much these policy statements will sway voters. But they do give a clearer picture of what voters can expect from their next president, whoever that may be. Delphine Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
A Taiwan man has won the right to use just his Romanized Indigenous name on his national ID card. It's being hailed a big step for Indigenous rights in Taiwan. Bodu Bayen of the Dayen Indigenous group filed a suit against a law that requires Indigenous people to include a name in Chinese characters on their ID card. The court has ruled in his favor. The judge said that forcing him to write his name in Chinese characters infringed on his culture and identity. Although the ruling only applies to this one case, it has been welcomed by other Indigenous Taiwanese bringing similar cases to court.
我觉得最重要的事情是这个判决它直接引用了宪法的保障，认定说原住民的这个命名权跟怎么样去呈现名字这件事情应该是宪法保障的，就是平等。
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken says Gaza cannot continue to be run by the militant group Hamas, but that Israel cannot reoccupy the territory. He says governance of the region might require a transition period.
What I've heard from Israeli leaders is that they have no intent to reoccupy Gaza and retake control of Gaza. So the only question is there some transition period that might be necessary, and what might be the...
Blinken spoke after a Group of 7 meeting in Tokyo. G7 countries made a joint statement saying that Israel has the right to defend itself, but must follow international humanitarian laws. Israel's military has entered Gaza City and is facing resistance from Hamas fighters using underground tunnels. Israel's offensive is in response to a surprise attack on October the 7th, when Hamas militants killed 1,400 people and took 240 hostages. Gaza officials say over 10,500 people have been killed in the enclave since fighting began. Russian President Vladimir Putin has met with a top Chinese general in Moscow. General Zhang Youxia is the vice chair of China's Central Military Commission. During his meeting with Putin and Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, the three discussed high-tech cooperation between their countries' militaries. Putin also took the opportunity to accuse the US of creating tensions in the Asia-Pacific.
Соединенные Штаты втягивают все страны Альянса в создание напряженной обстановки в Азиатско-Тихоокеанском регионе, стараются создавать там новых военно-политических альянсов, включая страны региона.
China is urging Estonia to prevent Taiwan from opening a representative office in the Baltic nation. Taiwan says it's discussing setting up an office in Tallinn to boost bilateral exchanges. Estonian media reported the country's Chinese ambassador has threatened to leave Estonia if Taiwan opens an office there. This comes as Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu is visiting the 3 Baltic nations, Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia. Taiwan's Coast Guard has intercepted a Chinese fishing boat it says was trespassing in waters near its outlying Penghu Islands. The boat attempted to flee, but was chased down and boarded. The boat was one of 2 fishing vessels spotted in the same morning in waters claimed by Taiwan. The guardsmen detained the boat's 8 crew members and tossed 300 kilograms of illegally caught fish back into the sea. The crew are now being investigated. A decades-long battle over surrogacy in Taiwan could be nearing an end as the government drafts an amendment to make the practice legal. John Van Trieste reports.
For 20 years, Taiwan society has been split over whether to allow surrogacy, the practice of women bearing other people's children. But one side of the debate seems to be winning out. Ko Wen-je, the Taiwan People's Party's candidate for president, has voiced his support for making the practice legal. The Democratic Progressive Party government has gotten on board too, and the Health Ministry is drafting an amendment to the country's Assisted Reproduction Act.
我们会提出来的版本，可能是会有代理孕母的，因为这样才有所选择。
Proponents of surrogacy say it will help make a dent in Taiwan's stubbornly low birth rate, on course to become the lowest in the world. One projection indicates Taiwan's population may halve by 2070, leaving few workers, few soldiers, and few healthy taxpayers left to fund the healthcare system. Some in the medical field are in favor, if not as a solution to demographic woes, then at least as a way for everyone who wants to have a family to be able to start one.
譬如说，有人有高血压的问题，他有人有肾脏病，不是有没有子宫，有人说子宫太小，畸形，很多原因。我讲这个就医学专业由医生解决，但是整个政策是对的。
Some women's groups, though, have ethical reservations.
不是只有子宫出界而已。那另外就是说，这里面我们其实也很担心，会不会把女性的这个身体当成一个工具，或是商业上的一个使用。
The Health Ministry still seems ready to go ahead with its proposed amendment. It says it's held over a dozen consultations with experts on protecting children born through surrogacy, protecting women's bodily autonomy, and issues of family ethics. It says it may unveil its proposal early in 2024 and send it to the cabinet for approval by the end of the year. Eason Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is pushing efforts to use AI to fight cancer. The country's top research institute, academia Sinica, is teaming up with tech company Acer to develop personalized cancer vaccines. Genetic samples taken from patients are put in a machine which uses AI to custom design a vaccine based on their genetic markers. The device is still in development and it won't be ready to hit the market for 3 years. Researchers say the vaccines should help save lives.
因为这样可以预防它的复发，所以它最大的作用，而且最大的市场应该会是预防病人的复发。
A new picture book aims to teach children how to express their emotions. Tiffany Wong has more.
Growing up can be hard for kids, especially when it comes to feelings and relationships. Luckily, a new children's book could help them with this part of their young lives. At a preview event, students used stickers from the book to express their emotions in different situations. 10-year-old student Huang Guangcheng says 2 of the 4 stories in the book are based on his own experiences.
我有一个朋友搬家了，然后他在那里交了越来越多朋友，所以我们就比较少见面了。
The project is a collaboration between students, illustrators, and the Taiwan Gender Equity Education Association. The group created the book to be read alongside its other teaching materials on emotional education, an initiative it launched 2 years ago. The association says that modern relationships have changed, and education needs to be updated to teach young people how to safely navigate these experiences. It adds that online dating is becoming more common, even in primary schools.
现在还是写说，2个人要交往之前要先进行团体活动，大家一起互相认识，然后再团体约会，然后再1对1的约会，最后就谈恋爱，然后结婚，非常不符合现在。
A mother of 2 young children says the book's lessons are important for kids and can be applied to all kinds of relationships.
就算他跟父母也会有冲突，兄妹跟兄妹也会有冲突，这些冲突都是慢慢的，你需要去调节他们之间的关系。
The association hopes the book can help children understand how to express their emotions, overcome hardships, and have more fulfilling relationships. It plans to launch a fundraiser to publish the book at the end of the year. Devin Tsai and Tiffany Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for joining us on What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Just before we go, here are some canned food creations, part of a design competition in New York promoting food donations for people in need. I'm Louise Watt. Take care. We'll see you next time.